That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. Still live remote edition of the Always Irish Show from Florida. It is a Notre Dame wide receiver situation, the ultimate chicken and the egg scenario edition of the Always Irish live from Florida show. As always, thanks for being here. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni boy out as well. Notifications on. Hit that bell and we'll treat you well. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysIrishND@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want it. You could get it. Don't want to see my face. How do you think I feel? How about Notre Dame Fighting Irish Football, brought to you by SI. Read all about it. All the other sports, too. In fact, great job destroying Michigan by the women. You'll love to see it. How about this? Little fencing championship for the guys on guard. Love to see it. Successful Sunday here at Notre Dame land. So good for the lady basketball team and the good swordsmanship, I guess. I don't know what else to call it by the I just love doing the thing. Just on guard. I love that fencing thing. I wish I knew how to play. It just seems fun, but like, I don't even know. How do you get into fencing? Well, 200 years ago, my great-great-great-grandpa was a pirate. Like, I don't know how you get into fencing. Just saying. So congratulations to all those sports. And don't forget, patreon.com/Always Irish. He's the former captain. He's the leading tackler. It's Mike Goolsby and myself. We got a lot going for Blue and Gold weekend, folks. Friday night, we're going to be tearing up the Always Irish crew, tearing up Eddy Street. You're all invited. Bright and early Saturday morning tailgate, as close as I could get to the Frankie statue. Be there, be square. Enjoy the game. And then after the game, the linebacker and myself are going to the linebacker and we're doing a live post-game show. You can't beat it. Let's get into this. Let's get into the topic of the day, shall we? I'm thinking about how Notre Dame could take the next step in 25. And not only just 25, but in the next iteration of whatever this is going to become in the Freeman era. First-time quarterback, whoever it's going to be, whatever. It's just kind of, it's going to have a different feel. And so I'm trying to think about what we could get better at in this next phase. I still think it's premature to just say, it doesn't matter who the DC is. You know, we got some talented guys and they're going to be just fine. There's history there. I feel pretty good about it, but that is still until I see that it's good against Miami and A&M. I reserve the right to have a little anxiety with a new guy until I see that it's going to be okay. I'm not being negative. It's just until I see it be good enough with the new guy, it's on my list. But there's at least a lot of evidence there that suggests Notre Dame's going to be fine. Healthy, I think this O-line is going to be fantastic, and they're going to be a lot better later in the year than they are earlier in the year. And you got a lopsided front-heavy schedule, but they're going to be good. You believe what you have in the run game. The next step to me is maintain your physical run game identity and add a dangerous arm at quarterback and a dangerous pass game. If you do that, who's stopping you on offense? If you can maintain a power run game and add a true dynamic passing threat, that when I say true dynamic, that kind of stuff, I mean something other defensive coordinators have to account for, and they're worried. And they got to think, am I going to just send it a safety to crash the line on a run play, or do I got to be worried about getting beat over the top? Like, do I got to worry about the quarterback's arm? Like, does the other defensive coordinator believe in our quarterback's arm enough to scare him or whatever? And the thing with this is, it's not one or the other. Whenever I say we need a more dynamic pass game, it's like, oh, you're gonna give up the run game. Why? Why do you have to pick one or the other? You can do both. You can have both, and you could do both and be successful with both. And so I just think that's the next step. If you really want to get this offense cranking, that's got to be where it comes next. Okay. So I think that's the biggest thing missing. Look at last year. You had a run game you liked. The O-line, even though banged up, ended up being pretty serviceable. And later on in the year, pretty darn good, even as banged up as they were. You like the run game. You like the defense. If you ask me where's a weakness, it's that your pass game doesn't scare anybody enough to change defensive scheme, to change the way they prep for you and plan for you, to not let them sell out, stop the run or whatever. So I think that might be the biggest thing missing to make Notre Dame truly dangerous in all areas, is that electric pass game that people fear. There's a big difference between people fearing it and planning for it and saying, we're going to sell out against the run, and if Riley Leonard or Sam Hartman beats us down the field, God bless them, but we're not worried about it. What I'm talking about is something different where you got to plan for it, worry about it as a opposing DC, that kind of thing. So here's the thing with the wide receivers and the lack of elite wide receiver recruiting or whatever. The lack of a true number one alpha dog, jump over everybody, freak athlete like Ohio State has, whatever. You ain't got that. You got nice pieces, but you don't have anything that looks like that. You don't have anything from the same world as that right now. Maybe I'm proven wrong, and let's see it. Get behind Miami, and I'm a believer. Don't, and I'm a skeptic. It's as fair as I could be. But I think everybody's done with just buying into the wide receiver room because you want to buy into the wide receiver room and you want to feel good about it. You see some good clips in spring, and then you convince yourself it's going to be a great unit. I was told Tobias Merriweather was a true number one alpha. I'm not believing any of it. Get behind Miami a few times, and I'm interested, okay? Believe it when I see it. So here's what I keep hearing. Me and Mike have talked about this. I've seen a lot of talk on Twitter about it, other people writing and talking about it. The concept that to get Notre Dame wide receiver recruiting where we want it, you got to have an explosive pass game that highlights those guys and is exciting for them to play in, and have a track record of putting guys in the NFL at that position group. Kind of like the way Ohio State does it, man. Direct pipeline to the NFL, and then they highlight them in the games, and then it keeps recruiting going almost on its own because it has everything you could want. You know you're going to be featured. It's going to be fun. You're going to get chances to shine, and they have a history of putting guys right in the NFL. We don't really have that lately. So I keep hearing to land more elite guys like that, other than the money part and paying them, that let's put that aside. You got to have a more explosive offense that caters to it. And then you got to have evidence you're putting guys in the top couple rounds of the league. That will get more people interested in the Notre Dame coming here to be a wide receiver or whatever. I struggle with this. It's the ultimate chicken and the egg. Think about what you're saying. That you got to start putting guys in the league, and they got to start playing this in an exciting version of football, making plays all over to draw the attention from these recruits. Okay, but the best way to do that is to recruit like Ohio State does at that position, because then you have all those freak athletes that are making plays on the field. You could build, scheme to them, and then they go to the league. This is the ultimate chicken and the egg scenario. Because you're saying you got to have guys that play better on the field and get drafted, and we don't have them. And you got to do that in order to be able to recruit better. But the best way to do that is to have better recruits. It's the ultimate chicken and the egg. And so think logically, follow this through. We don't have those type of dudes at that level, and you're not putting wide receivers in the league. You got to break that mold, but we're not landing top-end wide receivers right now. The only answer then is, in that chicken and the egg, the only answer is the guys you have now got to play better and develop and turn into that to be able to get to the track where they're going to the NFL and they're making great plays and jumping all over. And you got to do that. That's the only way. And the new wide receiver coach has been, I keep being told, he's a better developer than he is a recruiter or whatever. Well, then we need to see that, because otherwise you're stuck in the middle. Oh, you got to put a bunch of guys in the league and have a bunch of great athletes playing the position to get people interested in all this. The easiest way to do that is elite recruiting. One feeds the other. So if you're not going to If you're not just going to land these 5-star wide receivers, a few of them or whatever, the only other way is for some of the guys you have now to emerge and break this mold. And then they're the ones that could get in the league and be highlighted or whatever. I just hate this feeling that we're in the middle. Everybody agrees. Oh, yeah. How do you break the cycle of not putting wide receivers in the first couple rounds of the league when you're not recruiting elite wide receivers year after year after year? The only answer is the guys you have to play better. Now, so that's the wide receiver chicken and the egg part. Here's the other part of this, though. You got to have a quarterback that could throw these guys the ball and make this a reality. So that's the other part of it. You got to have a quarterback that everybody trusts that has the arm that could sling it around and do all of this to be able to even highlight those guys. So that's a part of this too. It isn't all just on the wide receivers. You also need a guy that could wing it to him and get it out there. I think your O-line's going to be good for a long time. You got to have a quarterback then that could whip that ball around and get it to them and do all that too. And so I just, man, but I've been seeing this on Twitter all the last couple of days about the frustration with the wide receiver recruiting. And it's like, nothing's going to change till you start putting guys in the league and prove that Notre Dame wide receiver room's the place to be. But how could you expect to do that if you're not recruiting the elite guys? Development. And I don't know if any of the guys on our roster could turn into that or not. I don't know, but I don't like this in between. It's real easy to say this concept. It's easier to say it than it is for it to happen. And the quarterback is a piece of this too. And then here's the other thing I've heard. And I'm really going to push back on this. Nobody's asking for you to give up your physical run first identity and all that. Nobody's asking for that. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for this and supplement in addition to that, not in lieu of. Now Lou Holtz, that's different. In lieu of, okay? The other thing I'll hear sometimes is, Notre Dame's a cold weather area, whatever. Run first makes sense. You don't need to be able to throw it around as much. We're not down south or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Spare me. Columbus, Ohio may be one of the only places on earth that has crappier winter weather than South Bend, Indiana. Spare me. I can't believe I see people on Twitter saying, oh, it's kind of northern team. You don't need to be able to focus on throwing the ball that much, blah, blah, blah. It's harder to do or whatever. It ain't harder for Ohio State. They wing the ball around, and it is crappy cold weather in Columbus too. So that's an excuse. So I'm not buying it. So chicken and the egg, you guys. I understand the idea that you got to put guys in the league and have them show out on the field or whatever. The easiest way to do that is with elite recruits. So if you're not going to have the elite recruits and you want to break this cycle, the guys we have really, really got to develop quickly. And you need a quarterback that can open this stuff up. You got to have a quarterback that could open this stuff up. So you gotta get way more out of what you can. So I don't know, man. Malachi Fields, Greathouse, Faison. Can Cam Williams get out there and be a part of all this? Like KK, Gilbert, whatever, man. Step up. There's going to be opportunities. And I don't know if anybody has top couple round NFL skill sets or whatever, but the worst place to be in this dynamic is in the middle. You just can't. Something's got to break the cycle. And if it's not going to be on landing 5 stars and then in a year or two, they're going to break the cycle, the guys you have to have now have got to do it. And the quarterback's got to be a piece of it too. Get a guy that could throw the ball. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to go have another drink. Have a good one. Don't forget to check out the merchandise. The link is in the description. You can browse and carouse all the different Always Irish gear. Make sure you head over there and get something for the next tailgate. Thanks for being here.